A 115 team takes a running back. You just took your franchise quarterback. You had a running back. And I'd be pissed if I was a Jacksonville fan. I love that, talking about Green Bay. He'll never find out. Believe me, nobody knows better what it looks like when an organization is about to go to shit than a New York Jet fan. And Justin Fields proved that he can hold it together. He can regroup. It's okay if he struggles. And we got a big game against the Eagles, and maybe you need some energy, so wake up! We have every right to expect the Jets to win. Rich Cimini, schmuck, putz. All right, and without further ado, let's welcome CJ.
What's going on, Jeremy? That intro is fire right there, man.
Thanks, man. It's funny because I've been lazy. I really wanted to do more because I got a lot more content now to add in, but I've been having so much fun with them. I'll probably wait like a couple more weeks until I have like a weekend of free Saturday.
Oh my God, I gotta have you do one of those for my show.
I'm gonna tell you a little story about CJ. So the first time I heard CJ, I knew Jimmy, and Jimmy goes, "Yo, you got to check out the show Wet and Todd," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And I tuned in on a Friday night, and it immediately took me back to New York. So here I am in Sacramento. Been here since 2016. Before the pandemic, we were getting back to New York, but not as often, obviously, as you want. You always want to get back to New York.
Yep.
But I come onto the channel, and you're going on some rant. One of your CJ rants. You fucking kidding me? And then you take that guy, and you tell him to shove it up his ass. Like one of those kind of rants.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I've had more than a few.
And I think
because I just don't, I just can't. Between the fans of this team, the Beat, ESPN Radio, CBS Sports Radio, it's like, I'm surprised I still have hair left because I probably would rip it out. It's just, and not only that, Jeremy, we're fans. I mean, we're emotionally invested in this team. We've been emotionally invested in this team for a long time. All right. Now, on my show, we've got anywhere between, I'm probably going to guesstimate. I know I've been a fan almost 45 years. Kevin's been a fan over 40 years. Jimmy over 35 years. All right. I mean, you got almost 130 years of fandom on the show. So when we talk our angst, you're talking about the angst because we've actually sat in the shit with everybody else and we're tired of what we can see. That's all. We tell it like it is. I don't have any press passes. I don't get to talk to players. I don't get to talk to NFL execs. I don't get to talk to anybody from the New York Jets organization. I wish I could. There's so many questions I would love to ask. I'm a fan like you, like everybody who watches us, like everybody who tunes in. And we get frustrated too. But the thing is that every single fan has a singular view of how they look at this franchise and how they look at the team. And to me, what I think is wonderful about platforms like yours, platforms like ours, everyone else who does a show about the New York Jets, you're giving your own opinion based on what you see as a fan and what your opinion is as a fan. There's no agenda. There's no motive. There's no corporate bucks behind your shoulder where you have to read shit off of a cue card and you have to say this and you have to say that because it's the corporate way. You're a fan. Throw back a couple beers and tell me exactly how you feel, straight up and down. And that's the premise of why our platforms are the way they are. And let's face it, not everybody's going to agree with my takes. Not everybody's going to agree with your takes, with Jimmy's takes, with Kevin's takes, and anybody else. We live, breathe, die with this team because all we want to do is we want to see a competitive product on the field that we can be proud of.
So anyway, I heard you doing that rant, right? I come on and you're doing this rant, and I just think, and I'm watching the show, and I'm thinking, I feel like I'm sitting on one of those red benches in a New York, whether it's the Bronx or whether it's Brooklyn, like I'm in a pizzeria with the brown tables, the long tables with the orange seats. And I'm sitting there with the crushed red pepper and the garlic powder, and I got my slices on the paper plate, dripping with grease. I got my Coke in that cup, that plastic waxy cup.
Yep.
Where if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
holding- So I'm thinking to myself, I feel like I'm sitting in a pizzeria listening to some guy at another table go off at the TV, like, are you fucking, or reading it like the Daily News. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? What's this fucking guy talking about?
Mhm. That would most definitely be me, because I would be the guy going, and this fucking clown gets paid to put this drivel in on fucking print. I mean, yeah, that'd definitely be me. I'd be that guy in the bar who would just like sit there. I'd be sitting at the corner of the bar and yelling at the TV.
I'm like, Peo time, and it's time to go home. And he doesn't know what I'm talking about. He goes, is Jeremy joking? What is he doing? So I'm going to explain it to him now. Peo time, right. There was a Caribbean singer named Harry Belafonte, famous guy. You may have heard of the name. And one of his most famous songs was called Deo. And the way it would go, it'd be like, Deo, Deo, daylight come and me want to go home.
Yep.
So I see Peo time, and I'm like, Peo time.
Oh, dude, that's perfect. It's actually catchy right there.
Yeah. You could steal that, Peo time. I won't sue you for rights or anything like that. You could have it, my friend. Yeah, Peo time's popular around here. He's our favorite Jets fan. So
nice.
I mean, he's our favorite Rams fan. He's rooting for the Jets in the AFC, though. He's hoping that we get to. He's saying that one day he wants it to be us playing them in the Super Bowl, just so we can have a winning team. Let's go back to the Jets. So I wanted to start with that piece of news. Another big thing that people are talking about. I'm wondering, because I don't know if you're always asking us on your show our takes on things, and you'll go on your little rant sometimes, but you don't go into all the little things. So I wanted to know how you feel about Mekhi Becton and what people are saying about him. He's overweight. He's this. He's that. They seem to be blaming him for his injury. I want to know where you weigh in on Mekhi Becton and that pick and how he played his first year, and what do you think the future brings for him?
Well, look, I got to say, Mekhi Becton, his injury this year must have been probably a little bit more serious than we were led to believe, because he basically missed the rest of the season. Now, I don't know if he suffered a setback in the rehab and the Jets don't want to expose it, or I know that they talk a lot about transparency, they talk about accountability, but there has been some thoughts, some stuff that's been brought up about Mekhi Becton, about his past. Him not being motivated, not really caring about football, not really taking very good care of himself in regards to football. But hey, look, a lot of it is speculation, because the kid still goes out there and he's working with athletic trainers. He's trying to get himself back on the field. So I think that there are people who are trying to say negative stuff about Mekhi Becton to kind of dig the fan base a little bit and say, like, you see, Joe Douglas drafted Mekhi Becton. He's fucking worthless. He can't even stay healthy. He can't stay on the field, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I personally think it's bullshit, because anytime that the kid tweets anything out, it's him in the gym. It's him working on his nutrition. It's him he hired a brand new fucking nutritionist now. All right, that apparently the people that he was working with before, he got rid of them. He's got a brand new nutritionist to help him with his diet, help him control his weight, help him be able to strengthen and condition his body so that way he can go for longer periods of time. Because, dude, let me tell you, his rookie season, right out of the fucking gate with his little OTAs, training camp, everybody going through COVID as he did, he was a fucking monster. Just picture him in his rookie year, as much of a monster as he is, just being 100% healthy on that left side of the line, right next to Elijah Vera Tucker. All right? They could give the ball to you or me, and our slow asses could fucking run through that hole that they would create. All right? So I think that the New York Jets and Joe Douglas, they have a plan as to what they envision this offensive line to look like in the future. This is why I don't think Connor McGovern's going to be here anymore. This is why I don't think Connor McDermott's going to be here anymore. This is why I don't think Morgan Moses is going to be here anymore. So George Fant, he's still on the contract for one more year. So he's going to be there. But what they're going to need to do is they're going to need to have to inject some more youth and depth pieces into this offensive line so we have a good enough rotation. And my offensive line has got to protect my quarterback to keep him upright so he can distribute the ball to his weapons. Otherwise, we're going to see a lot of what we saw last year with Zach Wilson in the first part of the season, where the offensive line was just not fucking holding its water, and he had 300-pound defensive linemen in his lap all fucking day. So now it's just frustrating that there's all of these lazy narratives out there about Mekhi Becton. He's not motivated. He's too fat. He doesn't take care of himself. Bullshit. Because when you see what the kid does on the field, you take the narratives and you throw them in the garbage. Because the kid is a beast. The only thing that he needs to do is he needs to mentally understand that now you're a professional. This is what you're going to be doing for the next 10 to 15 years, God willing. All right? And if you really want to be considered one of the best offensive linemen to ever play the game, you have to go out there and make sure you take care of your body, number one. Number two, you have to be 100% healthy through all the bumps and bruises and the grinds of a now 17-game season, plus three game preseason. That's number two. And number three, you've got to be the best at your position, which means you got to manhandle motherfuckers like there is no tomorrow. That's why this year, Jeremy, I didn't give a fucking win-loss prediction. Do you know why? Because going into this season, I said, these are the problems with the Jets. The defense spend too much time on the field. The offense can't pull its head out of its ass, and it's inconsistent. And we've had coaching problems with time management and personnel management. Show me you can overcome that shit first, and then we'll have a conversation about, well, I think this team could win 10 games, or I think this team could win 8 games, or I think this team could go kiss my ass, or whatever.
So AC wants to know how to find you. So let's just tell
Dude,
tell
Weapons Hot After Dark, just look it up on YouTube. On Friday nights, do a show on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Check out their Facebook page. You could also find them, believe it or not, Worldwide Sports Radio Network has a YouTube channel. You could also find our stuff up there. So many different places. If you Google Weapons Hot, I guarantee you everything you need to find will be right there.
Yep. Absolutely. And Gitmo says, yeah, I mean, exactly. Gitmo, that's what I'm talking about. Connor Hughes, I thought was a guy you could trust. He's full of shit.
So, I mean, look, between Connor and no disrespect to DJ, all right? DJ Bieniemy, he's probably the one guy that I would say I would listen to him first before I listen to anybody else. Samini's been covering the team for over 20-plus years, okay? DJ's only been here for 5 minutes, but the dude came right out and said when the first time he posted on Twitter, let's get everything straight, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. And some of the comparisons that he does make to the New York Jets are to what's going on in Miami. And he does get called out on it. Okay? But Samini fucking brown noses everybody, browbeats everybody on Twitter, thinks he's the be-all, end-all of fucking Jets reporting. Connor Hughes, I think the only reason that anybody even knows his name is because Manish Mehta's not around anymore. That's why this beat is a joke. This beat is a joke. That's why if Jet fans really want to get the full-on information, you're better off listening to shows like ours because we read the articles that these idiots put out. We not only read the articles, we read other articles from other fans that have been credentialed with the New York Jets organization, that they worked hard to get those press passes, like the Matt O'Learys of the world, like the Paul Edston Jr.'s of the world. And there are a couple other, I can't think of them right now. But you know what? there are a ton of places where you can get your Jets info and Jets insight where there's no agenda, there's not bullshit, and you're going to get an honest opinion from the person who's giving it to you. The biggest problem with the New York Jets this season was the defense spent 60 to 70 to 75 to 80% of the time on the field. And why is that, you ask? A, because your offense can't score. That's number one. Number two, you either commit a penalty or allow your opponent to convert on a critical third down. That's number two. Okay? And number three, as you continue to let these things pile up, the longer the season goes on, guess what? That 60% turns to 70%. That 70% now turns to 80%. That 80% now starts teetering to 85 and 90%. The more I started looking deeper and deeper into it, it's the Jets don't have the talent. They don't have the talent to be able to withstand these type of beatings for long periods of time. The team is not equipped to go toe-to-toe in a track meet.
Well, certainly not, especially with because the only way they would have had any chance is if you were lucky enough to not have any injuries, because yeah, you could make it look good up front on top and say, oh, look, we have this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. But we were a 2-14 team coming into the season, and it wasn't like we built a deep roster. We don't have a roster of 53 players that's championship level. So the second, it's like we could use the excuse, oh, Lawson got hurt, this guy got hurt. But the real problem behind that was that we're not deep. So the guys that came in, we couldn't even bring the guys. We didn't even bring the guys on the roster to come in. We had to go searching and find guys on the garbage heap. But that tells you about the talent of the team and the depth of our roster. The depth of our roster was so limited that we had to go out and sign guys off of other people's practice squads who had been released. That was the people we were putting on the field. And it's not the injuries that made us struggle. It's the lack of talent and depth in the roster, and that's okay. Right. I'm not putting that on JD yet because we got to get, if that happens in 3 or 4 years from now or whatever in the future, we have to put it on JD. But right now, yeah, we stripped down our roster to nothing. We're an expansion team last year going into that draft. We had nothing. So it's going to take some time before we have that deep team where you can afford to have injuries and have guys that can step up and play.
We were an expansion team going into the draft. I think we were an expansion team year 2 of Adam Gase.
Yeah. And then we stripped that down, right? We got to strip that down and start over. So,
and I would much rather have that because, again, this is where salary cap works in your favor, because when you build through the draft and you fortify through free agency, you don't have to spend a shitload of money to build a team. Take a look at what Mike Maccagnan did his first year, right? Spent almost $200 million for a 10-6 season, and we didn't make the playoffs. All right? Now, fast forward to this year, the New England Patriots, right? $168 million in free agency. They make the playoffs, and they're one and done. And meanwhile, every ESPN reporter not named Teddy Bruschi, okay, was all over the Patriots' dick saying, Patriots are back, they're gonna storm, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, they're gonna do the other thing, they're gonna run roughshod through the playoffs. Do me a favor, go ask Josh Allen and Sean McDermott how that worked out. So just do me that favor. Okay. So $168 million got you a 10-7 record to go one and done in the playoffs. But Patriots fans could say, hey, well, at least we fucking got there. Well, guess what? Here's what I say to Patriots fans. Hey, well, at least we're not going to be in cap fucking hell for the next 3 years.
And that's exactly the frustrating thing when you hear, like every time a star player, comes available, or every time it's like everybody's just jumping all over it. We got to get them. And it's like, and then gets mad when we don't. And it's like, no. When are we going to learn? Look at, yeah, we might be able to pick up and use our money for some stars, and that might get us into the playoffs one and done. But look at the championship teams, because New England went against their grain. They went against who they are, one and done in the playoffs, just like you said. But if you look at New England from 2003 to 2018, they didn't do that. They didn't go out and spend millions of dollars. They built through the draft. If you look at Pittsburgh, if you look at Seattle before they made the horrible deal for Jamal Adams, like, when did those teams go south? When did they fall? When did they fail? Seattle failed when they went, and New England both failed when they went against who they are. Seattle built through the draft for years. Then they make this big trade and trade all their picks for Jamal Adams, and look what happens to their organization. Look where they are now. And now look at Green Bay had Aaron Rodgers as their starting quarterback for a bunch of years. They only got one Super Bowl out of him, right? And look at their drafts. They never gave him the weapons. They didn't do. I mean, it's like it's the decisions you make in the draft that builds your team. I look at those consistent winning teams, those dynasties, and Green Bay is not a good example. I mean, they've won too. So, but
Green Bay's only got one title under Mike McCarthy, and even the year that they won the Super Bowl, they really did not have the greatest of weapons. And mind you, I'm not pissing all over the Green Bay Packers. I don't want anybody to get it twisted, okay? But as good as the Packers have been for the past 5 to 7 years that Aaron Rodgers has been the quarterback of that team, you should have more than one Super Bowl. And I'm sorry, that's an organizational failure, because you can go 13-3 every fucking year and get the number 1 seed in the NFC. If you're gonna shit the bed when you get to the NFC Championship game, or you're gonna get eliminated in the divisional round, then no.
But if you look at the dynasties, the championship teams, Dallas Cowboys of the 90s, how did they do it? They traded Herschel Walker for $1 million. I mean, It's like you build a team through the draft. Yeah, it's such an exciting offseason. I mean, I know we say that a lot as Jets fans, but when you think about other years, like the year we signed Le'Veon Bell and these kind of things, when we sign a couple of big names, deep down, didn't you know it wasn't going to help? Like when we stunk, did you really think that Le'Veon Bell was going to turn this team around at that point in the direction we were going? Like, did you think, we're going to compete for Super Bowls? I mean,
no.
This last year was super exciting, because when he made those picks and then you saw them on the field, you realized, oh my God, we have a guy who knows how to evaluate talent. And now that's what makes this year so exciting, because we come in with all this draft capital, all this money, right? We come in with all of this. We have Carl Lawson coming back. We have Becton coming back. So there's so much like in your mind that goes through your head of what can happen and what the possibilities are. I'm just so excited when a free agency opens up after the Super Bowl, leading up to the draft. It's going to be some good times. It's going to be exciting, and we have to enjoy it, because I don't know that we're ready to go in and win in the playoffs, or I don't know. We can't. It might not happen in the season just yet. So we're going to have to enjoy the process. I don't want to, in 2 years from now, you don't want to be one of those people in 2 years from now when we're winning and going deep into the playoffs. Always know in the back of your mind, you were the guy 2 years ago saying, this sucks. They're doing the right thing. They all suck. We're never going to win. And now you're happy, but you're eating shit because you didn't pay attention and you didn't really understand what was going on. You want to enjoy the process of building this team, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I'm having fun now. Like watching us build this team, getting guys like Elijah Moore, Zach Wilson, EVT, Michael Carter II, Michael Carter, the running back. I'm enjoying this. All right, everybody. Good night. Again, thanks for everybody for joining. You guys are making all of this so much fun and so worth it. And I will leave you with this.
Oh yeah! Go! Amazing! That's my boy! That's my boy!
Breaks away from a sack and completes the pass for first down.
Oh, Kittle just may have made the most amazing catch.
He fights for the first down and gets out of bounds too.
It's no good.
Overtime.
Overtime. Oh, what a catch! How do you drop that? What are you, Jamal Adams? Touchdown!
This is a touchdown all the way.
He reached over the pylon. San Francisco beat Cincinnati.